Over the last few weeks and months as these updates have been rolling out, a lot of people have shown immense disliking in Natlan and where the future heads for the game because of it. There's a lot of issues I've noticed with Natlan, which I'll get to in this video, but before we start this video, I want to let you know that man is on Loot Bar GG now. If you don't know what Loot Bar is, I don't blame you, because I'm about to put you on. If you want insane Genesis Crystal discounts, if you want to save a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, for the Chaska banner, for the Lily banner, or even the banners ahead like my weekend set Lali, use my link in the description, as it does also support me as well. You don't have to use my link, but I would really appreciate if you did and bought it off my link, because when you do, I do get a bit of a commission for it. The price doesn't go up for you or anything, but it does support me, and I really would appreciate that. And that's about it, and let's move on to the actual video. So let's begin with actual issues that are present in Natlan in my opinion, and then we get over what I think is not an issue. So first of all, let's go in like chronological order. First of all, we have the representation of characters, right? For the longest time, we have all complained about like the skin colors of Natlan characters, since basically all of them are like fully white when they have been taken from cultures which are clearly like South African inspired and just like South cultures, but they're white. Like, it makes no sense. The only character I can give credit for is Iansan, as she really has not been whitewashed at all, and I'm really happy that's the case. I hope that when she gets like birthday art or something, she stays having like that skin color and she doesn't get whitewashed, because I know a lot of characters on their birthday arts, when they're like from Sumeru or just darker characters in general, they do end up getting a bit whitewashed, which I don't really appreciate, and I don't get why. Just make them the same skin color they were from the start. It's not that difficult. But I think the misrepresentation is horrible in this region when it comes to characters. Obviously, the region itself with the music, the exploration, like that is all amazing, right? I'm not holding that from anyone. Like, the representation of that, in my opinion, is really good. But when they come to the characters, which is like the main marketing of the game itself, they kind of did let it slip with the representation, which I don't think makes any sense, and I don't really appreciate it, and I know a lot of the Genshin community don't appreciate it either. As much as people may say, oh, it's not that deep, it does still mean quite a lot, and like everything from that culture has been stolen basically, other than like the skin color, which is really bad misrepresentation when they could have like, and have the characters actually match like skin color with the culture they're representing. It makes no sense, and I do understand everyone's concerned with that 100%. I am on board with you with that. It's not going to be like a game killer kind of problem, but it is still really bad, and I'm not going to acknowledge it as something that's not important, as it really is. I'm sorry, but a lot of the Genshin community don't care, and I'm really upset about that. They'll care for like the first few weeks, and then the issue move on like everything else in the world. Like, people will be like, oh, that happened like a couple months ago, it doesn't really matter. That's people's mindset now basically, because of like TikTok brain. But you know, we move on. But at the end of the day, I do understand that issue, and I still don't get why we stopped talking about it as if it got better. It didn't get better. But anyways, let's move on to like quite a new issue, and that is the unrealistic gameplay of Genshin Impact right now, and the characters that are coming out having a really unrealistic gameplay, like Reno on my week on the motorbike, stuff like that, and Chasko on the gun. And people think that this kind of takes away from the genre of the game, and it just ruins like the immersion of it, so to speak. And I've got a lot of comments on another video talking about this, where people were like talking, saying, oh, it's like, imagine if in Harry Potter like they had guns and stuff. And I do get that, but let me just like explain for a second. A movie series and a book series are very different from a live service game. A live service game needs to constantly innovate and explore new things for a character to be actually like, so you want the character and want to use them, right? At one point, we were going to run out of these fantasy designs, and I don't think Genshin Impact is done with them completely. I just think that they're letting like more in than they probably should, but they're letting more modern things in than they probably should, but I don't disagree with it necessarily. And that is because like it's a live service game. Like, I don't want my Wiki to be a pyro claymore that just like attacks with a claymore, because if I wanted a pyro claymore with infused attacks and a cool burst animation, I'd play Diluc. Like, we don't need a character like Diluc to be the Archon. And I get it, right? The game's kind of gone unrealistic, and Natlan especially has taken that genre apart. Like, you have Jelona literally having a concert in her demo, you have Chaska on her gun, and now we have Marika on a motorbike. Now, the motorbike one is definitely the worst one and the most modern one by far, because that motorbike literally looks like something that would be like not even present in our like generation. Like, it looks futuristic. It looks like a bike that would be designed in like 10 years time from now, and it flies, you know, it does all this. Like, I understand why people are concerned with them, but at the end of the day, it is something new and it's fresh, because I don't think it affects the story, right? If the motorbike affects the story and, you know, she rides into the sunset on a motorbike, like, I think that would be a bit laughable. A lot of the time, characters have different gameplays, than how they attack in cutscenes and animations. And that's what you have to know. It's like there is a balance, and I think Genshin Impact are kind of like Hyoverse are kind of noticing that there is a balance and there is a difference from the story gameplay and the actual gameplay. And I think that's what this is. I think it's just going to be a gameplay only thing where it's a single player game, like it's co-op. It's not like player versus player. It's not going to affect you that someone's on a motorbike and you're not. Like, it's just not going to affect you. If you don't want to encounter that, you don't have to. You don't have to play co-op if you don't want to. You're not forced to encounter these people and see Mawika on a motorbike if you don't want to. It's a completely single player game if you want it to be. You don't have to have people joining you. You don't have to join other people. And if you see that and you don't like it, you can just leave. You have free will. And that's what I think about the motorbike. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it definitely does take away from the genre a little bit, but at the same time, I really do think that like Genshin Impact is like at a time where it kind of does need to like have these more advanced things, because it just makes sense. And of course, Mawika is 500 years old, because a lot of people forget that Genshin Impact isn't like a fantasy game where like the world's basically just developing. It is a post-apocalyptic game. That's what people are like forgetting. Like after the war destroyed everything, and like Teyvat was basically reset to the start, and Mawika was actually like, you know, Mawika's an Archon, so she's going to have that more advanced technology. Like if you look in Sumeru, there's literally giant robots you can control, and that's futuristic. Like the giant robot in Sumeru. No one comments on that, but when Mawika's on a motorbike, everyone's going crazy. But yeah, obviously that there is some differences in that, but I'm just trying to say that like Conria before did have a really advanced technology, and it's literally known in the lore that they have the most advanced technology out of any nation, well they had, and that caused like a lot of issues. And because of that, I think it's entirely plausible that she had that motorbike and she had that playset, obviously. And people are taking this a little bit too far by saying, oh, it's too advanced now. Why didn't you say anything in Fontaine? Chlorine, it dual wields guns, bro. Are you not deep in that? And I fucking love Chlorine, honestly. I want to pull for it when I can, but I'm just saying, like, it's not an issue. And if you think it's an issue, you don't have to experience it, right? It is completely optional for you to experience it. You don't have to pull for Mawika. You don't have to pull and see other people. You don't even have to interact with it. So I don't get why everyone's crying about it like it's going to affect them if they don't want it to. If you don't want to pull for it, you don't have to. One thing I will say is I don't really appreciate how all the Natlan characters basically exclusively work with each other only. Or at least that's what it's going to be on track for. Because it just seems like as we get more Natlan characters, more of them are dependent on other Natlan characters to flourish. And I don't really appreciate that, because I like characters where they can work with older and newer characters. Like, I get it. Like, some people don't want that. Some people don't want to have to play the same thing over and over again. Some people want new teams, but when that new team is made up of 5-stars that are releasing update by update, it's kind of bad, because not everyone's going to want to pull for that. Like, personally, right now, I have almost every single Natlan character other than Kinich. I think that's the only one I don't have. And he's a DPS himself, so it doesn't even matter. But I have Jlonen. I am pulling for Mawika and Setlali, because Setlali apparently is going to be a really good support for Mawika, obviously, because she's cryo. So yeah, Night Soul State isn't really the best thing, but I really like how it looks, though. Like, with the outlines and stuff, I really think it looks amazing. But I really think I need to add like more inclusive characters, which are like allow Natlan characters to be used with like normal characters without like that much of a DPS loss. Like right now it's not an issue, but trust me, it really soon will be. I promise you that right now. Like they need to make like a 4-star character which gives like the Night Soul State to the entire team, or a 5-star even. But like still, I just want that to be a thing, because especially when you look at the new artifact sets, like those artifact sets are insane, but they're usable on so like little characters. It's not fair. But yeah, I really think that there's gonna be a situation where it's like with Farina, where Farina enables any character to use the Marisol set. I think there's going to be a character which allows any character to use the Obsidian Codex set. Trust me, it's going to come eventually, one way or another. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my loot bar link. You know, buy some crystals for yourself. Spoil yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Thank you so much for watching again. Eat some carpet, mate.